Tuesday. It feels like Monday. Is that bad? I didn't sleep very good. So I'm kind of groggy and wanting to take a nap already, and it's not even 8 o'clock according to my clock. Um, Let me put out a tweet real quick. Tweet, tweet, tweet. There we go. Alrighty. Nothing has been announced that I noticed on the forums or anything. I usually keep track of the dev tracker quite a bit just to try and stay up on things. Mostly it's just been things about the lore about the Granok and stuff like that. So hasn't been anything really housing related. I did want to remind folks about, I guess it's, oh, what's it called? I can't even think of it. Black Dagger Society's Lifestyles of Nexus 5. Chestnut's been promoting it pretty regularly on Twitter. I've retweeted a few times. But it's always good to kind of just throw out an extra reminder that it is ongoing. It is open for entity players only. Entries close October 15th, and I think you're limited to 2 plots, and that can be 2 exile plots, 2 dominion plots, or 1 of each, up to you. I don't think there's any further restrictions as far as like if you've won their contests before, or if it's an old plot, a new plot. I think they're encouraging new stuff, but I really don't know if they're going to enforce that, especially if they don't have a lot of entries. I've seen a few apply on the thread already. You just give your information. It's right there in the Entity PvE subforum on the official forums. Right up at the top. It's getting bumped quite a bit, so should be easy to find. If you are on Entity Realm and have a house that you'd like to submit, then this is your chance. I don't know if they've gotten any update as far as any kind of physical swag that they might be giving out. I know they were reaching out to Carbine directly to try and get some stuff available for the winners, you know, set up some kind of goodie packages and stuff. But I haven't heard of any kind of update on that. Since I'm not on Entity, I don't really get into the details of it. I'm just letting you know that if you are on an Entity side and want an opportunity to maybe get some goodies, this is a good chance. Especially since it seems to be mostly player-driven competitions like this that, you know, see the light of day. We don't really see too much of that from Carbine themselves. So take advantage of it while it is going on. Again, I don't think there's any like specific theme, so I think anything goes. It's not like they're restricting it to like Shades Eve themed or anything like that. Although I'm sure that would be welcome, and it might score you brownie points since it'll be in October that they'll be judging. But anyway. Hey, Poi, good morning. I just had another coughing and sneezing fit, so I'm trying to recover. So apologies if I start making a lot of noise. So there is that, and I think I saw on a tweet this morning that I retweeted. Let me see if I can. What was that? It was something about an opening of an RP plot. Now I can't see where I did that. Hold on. Let me go to my own Twitter thing. Yes, the grand opening of the Free Winds Park is happening on the 30th, 8 p.m. for Exiles. It's an Entity RP event. I don't normally like specifically promote role-playing stuff, but because it's so closely tied to housing, and usually role players really go out of their way to, build a scene on their plot. I thought this was an appropriate kind of thing. I'm trying to find where they said the name. Yeah, it's the plot of Sasali Paretta, Salsaliparete. If you want to look it up on Twitter, it's at Drakenbot underscore Senyc, Senyc, um, otherwise known as Rogue Doodle, apparently. But yeah, it looked like I didn't see a whole bunch of pictures, just the one that they tweeted out. But yeah, it would be kind of something to check out, even if you're not into role play, just to kind of get an idea of what they built. Have I had the chance to get any RMT decor yet? Not really. Other than the sewage pipes from the daily that's on Palaver Point, I really haven't gotten much of anything. I did buy the bar decor pack from the shop, but it's on a different character, on even a different faction. So, and I haven't really placed it yet. I just have it because I think I might want to use it, but I haven't actually created anything yet. Um, but the sewage pipes, I actually haven't really used much of those either. I've got that on Melon's plot for his uh, steampunk plot, I guess. Well, I appreciate that, Fancy. It's no biggie. I'm trying to think if there's anyone that's actually been using them that I could show, but no, I really don't know of anyone. And if they are, they have it closed for, remodeling or whatever. The best way, if you don't have the pieces, but you want to have a look at them, in game without pre-purchasing them. For those that are willing, you do have the decor shopper on the Katia add-on, and you can just type in Red Moon and it gives you all of the latest stuff, including the lamps, the fan, the doors. I don't even know how they move. They're supposed to be functional, so I assume it slides open, kind of thing like that. There's the stage bar thing. I don't know if all of the pieces are in. I know these bits here are parts of the bar decor set. I want to say this is two, but there's also a sigil, Red Moon, and then the metal one, which it's not a very good preview in the game, but it looks just like this, I think. It's just flat. I think those come from the raid. But this is what I mostly get the tentacles and the pipes, and that's just because of that daily that I haven't really been doing lately. Square goes down like a trapdoor. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. See, it's not a really good preview on here. Um, but like with all our other doors, I'm sure you could rotate it if you want the circle to open up, like say on a sewage pipe instead of just a regular door. Um, I do know the Red Moon light panel. I have used that, but it was again, it's on a different plot. But yeah, I haven't used a whole lot. I'm not one to really get into going all out with when new decor comes out. Like I haven't messed with any of the new hedges, the topiaries, or anything like that. I'm kind of slower to that because I tend to prefer to build straight from the housing vendor. So if it's not housing vendor straight up given to us, I'm kind of slower to the punch on that just because I tend to build, I go for easy access and cheap. I don't buy a whole lot of decor packs or anything, or if I do, it's like a single one, as opposed to someone that wants like multiples of something and they buy like, a dozen, that kind of thing. So, yeah. I do some previews every now and then, but as far as actually using the pieces, I tend to not do that. Vincenti Leskov. That's on Entity. Well, that's good info. For those, I mean, we do have Entity players that come and drop by sometimes. That's Vincenti, Vincenti Leskov, Leskov. So if you want to see some previews of some of the Red Moon decor on Entity side, that would be the plot to go to. Okay, so yesterday we were working on the sewing machine, and I was going to replicate it for the other tables, and I discovered I didn't have enough of the playing darts, so I went and had to get a couple more of those. If you want to get some playing darts for yourself, if you want to do some kind of needle thing, or need some kind of sharp metal point thingy, those are available from the Mulgrave Reputation vendor. I think it's Honored. I'm not positive on that. It might be higher, but they're not bind on acquire, bind on pickup, so you can buy it with your main and send it to your alt, which is what I've done here. I think it's only like 9 copper or something. It's super cheap, dirt cheap. It's one of the things I wish they would do with all of the other Reputation items. There were some that were originally with the Reputation vendors, and those are all bind on pickup, like the Carrot plushies and I think the Protostar plushies as well. So if you have an alt that you want to use those items on, you constantly have to grind up the Reputation to open that up for them. I much prefer just buying it with my main and sending it to my alt, but yeah, so. But thankfully, some of these new items that were added weren't given those restrictions, so that makes it a little easier. So that means I can now comfortably replicate the sewing machine. See if we have it up still. This is turnips, so we're looking for sewing machine. I don't think I replicated the spool of thread with it. Yeah, I guess I did. I see the bowl metal there. It's a total of 33 pieces for this whole thing. And again, before you go to replicate something, a small set like this, always use the question mark, and it'll tell you in the chat if you're missing something. And I knew I was going to forget. Apparently, I forgot to give the alt. Forgot to have her create the stuff. So let me switch over real quick. We're not. I'm so unprepared this morning. Yeah. Let's just. I could have sworn. Maybe I sent it to the wrong one. That might be it too. Because it doesn't seem to be there, and it's not in her bags. No. Let's see. I'm gonna switch to Parsley because that was the only other character I've been mailing junk to, so I might have accidentally mailed it to her. Because I tend to get my characters confused. Yeah, it looks like I might have mailed it to the wrong one, so hold on. I forget to install mailboxes on all my characters, so I have to go to a different one to get quicker access. So let's see. Yeah, I mailed them to her instead. Silly me. So let me send that over. Then I gotta go back to turnip, pick up the mail, crate it, then we'll be ready. Maybe. This is why I would love a shared crate. You just crate it on one and everybody has access to it, and so much simpler than having all this juggling. That's why usually I try to do this before I go live, because I know it's a pain. Nobody wants to see me transferring junk all over the place, but okay, don't forget to rate it. Got it. You can see my characters, their inventories are usually pretty full. I'm constantly mailing junk to and fro, and I think I've even lost some things because I'll forget to check the mail of that character for like too long, and it deletes it or ends up sending it back or something. Okay, now back to turnip spot. And then we can replicate the sewing machines. Maybe. Okay. First, before I do that, I probably should go ahead and move the scissors here. Don't remember which piece is the mama. There we go. It's just that there. Okay, so again, I was trying to explain, if you're going to do a little set like this, always double check to make sure you have everything you're supposed to, or can at least afford it. Switch places, it was on the last of the list. That's weird. So this is telling me, besides the playing darts that I was missing, which are not missing now, it's going to take about 5 gold and 1,000 renown. The renown is, I believe, for the garage lamp. Hey Zodi, good morning. So looks fine. Should just, what you could do is I could move the original and just place it over here and then do a place on link, and it should just pop it right back up in the center. That's one way of doing it. You could move over here, do the relocate, and then place on link, and then move it over to where you want. Or you could do what I usually do, which is I just place it right on top of the original, and then I move the copy over. The tricky part about that is sometimes I've had trouble where it doesn't happen all too often, but sometimes I'll go and place a set on top of a original set. I'll go to move it and I'll accidentally, maybe it doesn't move all of it and it leaves a few pieces behind. It's not very common, but it has happened, so just thought I would mention it. Probably the safest thing, the smartest, would be just to pick up the original, move it over, and then place a new one in that one's previous place. If that makes sense. So I'm just gonna move this right on over here. And that looks weird because those, yeah, about the same. Okay. So again, I'm just eyeballing about the center of it. And then if I do the place all in link, it should put it right back here. And voila, now we have a second. So then I would again take that set, move it over to the second table. Now, if you didn't want to copy the spool of thread for each one, um, you could just remove that from the set. Don't include that. I just happened to include it because I figured it would be easiest just to leave it all the same, the silver thread. But I was thinking about how we could maybe make some different color spools uh, and what kind of objects would be best for that. So what we're going to do, hey Polly, glad you could join us. I don't know why there's so many people showing up. It's weird. It's welcome, but it's weird. Usually everybody's either playing or asleep. Okay, so I don't know why I closed that. I'm gonna start up another set here. Let's see. Turn it. Let's see, I think I have, yep, thread. We're gonna clear this and I'm just going to, what am I going to do? Like to make that set but without the plates. So let's just probably regret doing that, but just moving the spool by itself. So add link set. So now we can have an empty one. Again, it's just the vent tank and a couple of the colorful windows. Now again, the colorful windows are craftable, so again, I have to pay attention to how many of those I still have left, which it looks like I still have 10 available. But let's say you want a different color thread. What could we use to make that? Typically, you'd want something that's round in shape, not necessarily all the way around, but like a plate, a window, or something. But we're kind of limited on like colors. If I wanted blue threads, it might be tougher to find something that would work for that. The first that comes to mind is probably the sleeping bag, the rolled up one. That might work for a blue. But again, you're wanting something that'll give you those little segments too to make it look like it's actually string or thread on the spool itself. Yeah, I agree with Poi. Hey, Buffalo. Yes, I agree with all of that. It's free to play, and it is a small community. But you know, I know people think that that's a bad thing, that proves something as far as maybe that means it's a bad game, and it's really not. It's just, I don't know, folks are easily distracted with the latest shiny, and you know, I think a lot of it is just subjective as to, you know, maybe the graphics turn them off. They don't like the kind of what they call cartoony look. And those of us that do, this suits us really well. I think the story and everything is really interesting. The dungeons and the raiding, from what little I experienced, was very challenging. There's no just standing in the red and face rolling it. You actually do have to pay attention, even if you're geared. Yeah, I guess that's kind of how you could say it, Fancy. Uh, a little bit of a niche game. And then here I'm streaming a niche of a niche because not everybody's into housing. So mine is even more refined as far as being specific about the game. Anyway, so we could try the sleeping bag, but I'm suspect that it's not going to be split like I'd like, but I'm going to try it just to see. So I'll probably take the that I was afraid of. The centering of these pieces aren't always what you would expect. Let's see. Too small. See how that's kind of a little off? At least I think it is. Let's maybe shrink it down a little bit more. Maybe if I see the lines just aren't there. Like those edges of those bowls worked out really nice. Just to me, it just doesn't look right. So what else? What else could we try? Fancy. You're scared of housing. Don't be scared. Don't be intimidated by it. It just takes a lot of patience, I think. If you're kind of stuck on patience, yeah, it might be kind of frustrating for you. But there's really no right or wrong way of doing the housing. It's just different ways. Because as we've seen time and time again, people will take an approach to the same idea, but they'll go at it differently, and you come up with some really interesting, varied results. And that's one of the favorite things I love. I mean, someone else could make a sewing machine and it looked nothing like what I come up with. The reason I don't want to use additional bowls, because I know these work really nice, is because basically they're all pretty much the same color. Either they're silver or they're brown. And I don't really want to use brown because the spool ends are brown. So I'm trying to think of other things that we might could use. Let's see, I jotted down some notes somewhere. What did I do with that? I thought maybe the I don't know if this thing actually makes noise. I assume it does, but if it doesn't, it might work. It's kind of roundish and it's yellow, so that would be some nice golden thread. Now the reason I turned it over upside down is because I need the top to be flat so that it doesn't protrude outside the top of the spool. But once, since I'm setting the spool on a table, as long as there's not too much poking out through the bottom, it should be fine. Now the trouble with this one, though, I think will be having it visible at a distance. I think this one kind of disappears after a certain bit. Let me get the size right. Wait, let me see if I can center that. And it's not perfectly round, I know that, but I think it'll still work. Again, it's a little costly. It's 2 gold per. So if you don't really want to get into these little details, don't. Expensive, so. But I'm hoping that it'll be okay. And to save myself a little bit of a headache, I'm going to grab the bottom one, copy that to the first slot, grab the second one, copy that to the second slot, and then I just clone, difference, place, clone, difference, place. Oops, went a little too far on that one. I could probably not put so much space. It almost looks like a funny, weird uh, thread because it's like black from the side, but gold from the end, that kind of thing. Let's see. Why does it keep red? Just gonna keep making a few different ones just to see. What's another color we could try? I think. Another one you might use for the gold is maybe the Hugel portrait. I just don't know if you could get a really nice kind of rounded bit from that. I was trying to think of things that were relatively flattish, that maybe you could kind of turn it into a bit of a round. So maybe to see it better, flip it upside down. And what I'm thinking is like you would have to do it like this and all the way around. It'll be kind of lumpy and spiky in bits, but maybe that would be an okay effort, maybe. Another one for the yellow is if you happen to have a bunch of them, maybe the hay bale, the rounded hay bales, or possibly the piles of treasure, but I kind of doubt it. It'd have to be the Dragon Horde version without all of the extra doodads, and you couldn't turn it upside down, so you'd have a little bit of a mound up at the top, because if you turn it upside down, it actually disappears. There's nothing visible. It's really freaky looking. There's the hay pile itself, which again, I think it disappears on the bottom. It becomes hollow or something, so I'm not sure if that would work really well. But the wound, called shopper. This one here, the round one, either with or without the string. This is the one without, and probably easier to get a hold of because I think it comes from either a reputation vendor or it's the renowned vendor, one of the two. I think those might work for a yellow. It's just, again, maybe I'm hoping that the lines itself would work fine. I wouldn't recommend this because that's a shop item, so that won't be cheap. What's another one I was thinking of? The Merg explosives might work. That's this here. Because again, it's got that little divider line, like a little lip. So that. It's just, it's narrower than the belly of it, so it might not show up really good. But you could just leave it like this and call it, you know, there's no line divisions for it, but you could just say that that's a piece right there, that kind of thing. The fireworks, I'm not sure those will work very well. Because those would be really good to get some better colors like the blue or the green. Let's see, like this one would be good for blue. Maybe a yellow, red, like if you want to do like, instead of just spools of thread, you could do like Christmas ribbon. That might work well for that. The red dynamite for a red color. I thought there was a green one. Did I miss it? Oh, I guess it was this one here. But I'm thinking too, you might could get away with, like, say, the purple round pillow. This one here. Or possibly a combo of the green one, the green pillow. If you put two of them together and kind of make it a little bit round, sort of, that might also work as a good, because it's got those little stripes here on the edges, and it should work for a good kind of layering kind of thing. So, like, I would probably start off with one pillow and then alternate it. So let's get this straightened up first. Oops, I don't want to delete it. I just want to put it to the grate. So, and again, see how the centering of the pillow doesn't exactly match the centering of the tank. I don't know why it's that way for some items and not for others, but a little annoying. So we could probably just leave it like it is, actually. I don't think it'll be that big of a deal if it's a little. So copy the first one, copy the second, clone difference, and then you get that nice little stack. Like really fat thread, but you get the idea. Maybe one more. There's some green thread. Again, if you want to use, let's see, do I have any more of these? I can do 3 more spools, so let's slip those down here. What's nice about the pillows is I don't have to worry about anything sticking out in the bottom, which makes this a really good one for if you want to have it on its side. So for instance, let's link these up together. Now the reason I'm not doing the link all the green pillows together is I do have some green pillows in other places on this particular table, so it's just easier to link it individually. Okay, I think that's all of them. Nope, missed the top one. So you got the whole spool, so now we can just, well, no, we can't because of the thingy there. I forgot about that. So if you could find a center for the spool that doesn't have anything poking out, then that would be perfect for that. I don't know if I can think of something for it, or just make a really long spool. That would probably work. In fact, let's do that just to show what I'm talking about. Whoops, that's not going to work right. So I'm going to lay this on its side. I'm going to keep it straight for now, but once we're done with it, I'll rotate it a little bit. So to fix this, I need to put 2 of these in, I think. You'll understand why shortly. I need to have this as a smooth end on this side. I'm going to move this down, but I also have to flip it too. So let's copy this one. Now we'll just flip it. $90. Now the reason I don't change this is because this one's kind of wonky anyway. I'll have to adjust it myself. Is that right? That's just because that particular window is crooked to begin with, so it's never exactly what it should be. Okay, so I'm going to copy that one, this one, and then we're just going to extend that out. Yeah, I'm really into the details. Not every builder gets into that, but some of us do. And so it's kind of fun to come up with new details. So here's a really long spool of thread off to the side. So now I need to link all of these up together so that I can move it all as one piece. Now there is a way, if you're really suave with the CATIAs, you can set it so that it will auto-link any new items that you add to your target. I could have set the vent tank at the top as my target, and then as I added new pillows and stuff, it would automatically link, but I get confused with that, so I don't use that particular feature. But for those that are more, that can keep things kind of straight in their head and are more organized, that would probably be a great feature to use. Like I said, I've tried it and it's just, I don't know, I accidentally link stuff I don't mean to, and then I get confused about how to remove it, and I just never got the hang of it. Speaking of using CATIAs though, if CATIA seems a little intimidating, I mean, there's a lot of buttons, there's a lot of features, there's even a lot of commands that are kind of hidden, like the K reconstruct and K snapshot and things that aren't explicitly mentioned on the add-on itself. If that kind of intimidates you, we do have some great demo videos by a fellow builder, Noriak, that has gone above and beyond as far as trying to help inform how to use the features that are provided for those that are a little bit less inclined to use them often. So even for a seasoned builder, it would be a great help. Okay, so there's a giant thread of green, a giant spool of green thread. Okay, so let's try the purple pillow maybe. I think it might not work because, again, you don't have that good dividing line. But I'm hoping that that little jaggedy stripe along the edge will help kind of fake it in, and so you can get away with it. Notice I'm just doing this by eye. I'm not doing the copy, clone, repeat and all that kind of stuff. You can, but for those that don't use the add-on, it is possible to kind of eyeball it in as well. It's going to maybe look a little less even. but it is doable. Katia is uh, a super duper add-on. It has a lot of quality of life features that save you a lot of time. And I often call it a must-have, but I realize that's not entirely true. You can build without it. Many people still do. And those with some really fantastic builds as well. It's just a matter of, I know there are folks that don't like add-ons, third-party programs that kind of intrude. Maybe they don't like it filling up their window, or they just don't feel safe on downloading stuff that isn't made by the actual game creator, that kind of stuff. It's understandable, but if you're interested, those links are there on my Twitch channel page. Yeah, Katia's is a special add-on that helps save you time on copying. Like if I wanted to move this entire build to a different plot, I could do that. I could save it all just as it is and rebuild it somewhere else. Or I could just, I can give somebody a copy of this. Say, here, you want a spool of green thread, and do that. I use a combination of two add-ons. There's Katia's, which I have to type /Katia to bring up. That's her add-on right here, the Katia Builder Toolkit. This isn't standard for the game. This is an actual add-on, and she has a lot of features like Set Manager, which you've seen me using. She has a plot finder thing where you can actually type in search terms, like maybe you're looking for a bar, or you're looking for a spaceship, or somebody's name of their house but not their name. You can search by their house name, that kind of thing. She has a way that you can turn some of these decor into interactables, where you flip a switch and the light goes on and off, kind of thing. Lots of goodies. There's the decor shopper, where you can preview some of the items without buying them, and other things, the copy, paste, clone, all that. It makes it easy to make stairs and building structures and fences and all that good stuff. The other one I use is the one that you'll see pop up here whenever I touch an item to go to manipulate it. This is the standard one that comes with the game. The advanced controls here, but this is the one. This is from Lament, which was a Carbine employee that put it together. It also does copy and links and things. It does similar stuff to what Katia does, but I like the ease of it. Because Katia's I have to type in every time I close it, whereas Lament's pops up automatically. So I use both, just different instances. One I find more convenient in certain situations, and the other one I find more convenient than the other, so I just use both. Okay, so I think that's enough experimenting with spool colors and stuff. Again, you could probably come up with some other items that would probably work, but I would say 9 times out of 10 you're going to be looking for something round. Even if it's something that might be sticking out the bottom, if you're putting it onto a solid surface like a cabinet, desktop, or countertop, table like this, it's got some good thickness to it. You should be able to handle most of it pretty easily. And again, if you're using the pillows and such that are thin anyway, getting away with being able to make almost a standalone spool yourself will work out nicely. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put these away. So if I wanted, I could remove one of these and just replace it with a colored one, which I may do later. Maybe not with the green one because it's kind of tall, but. So I'm sure some of you are wondering about that dress sketch. Yesterday we started on it, and I had thought about keeping the original, but I started using those pieces in another attempt, and I ended up scrapping it. So I completely don't have it anymore. If you want to see it, you'll have to view the old video from yesterday. But it was awful. Honestly, it was like the, the worst. Some things I can build on the fly and not have it turn out so ugly looking, and others it takes me a while, and it's easier to work in private when I don't feel the pressure of trying to, put on a good show or whatever. So I went back yesterday evening. I think I'm not even sure how long it took me. I think I started on it at 6:30. And I'm trying to see if I have like a timestamp on my picture when I tweeted it. Because I tweeted it right after I finished. Okay, so this is about 7:30 p.m. So it took me about an hour to put this together. And yesterday's efforts, we were trying to use things that I'd used in the past, like the hanging cable and the obsidian rocks, using the edges, the very edges of them. And it worked great for like the panda painting and the Butterfree painting that we did. Worked great for that. But for whatever reason, I couldn't get it to work for this, for what I was picturing in my head. What I did was basically I didn't follow a picture. I had an idea of I wanted to make a dress, but I just figured I'm not going to stick to like looking at a picture. I'll just try and find some items that I think might work handy for it. So what I ended up using was, you can't tell, is most of the dress, the skirt of the dress and the arms, the sketchy arms, those are trellises. And you can see that back here. We'll just place a duplicate here. It's basically this little plant thing that you get. I was looking for something that had a flat surface but had different, it wasn't like solid. I wanted something that had lines, and I was digging through what I had in my crate already, and this come up, and I thought, I'm gonna try it. That's what the skirt pieces are. Basically for like the edge, it's just two pieces. I've twisted it just enough where only two of the lines are showing. Same way with the middle one. Basically three of the lines, but it's kind of joined into that second one here, so you don't really see that it's three stripes. And it just kind of worked out that it looked kind of like a skirt. It's basically three trellises for the skirt, and just angled out a little differently. For the arms, again, it's the trellises. It's just tilted just so that you only see part of it. The skirt pattern, that's the bottom of the orange tint. They're shrunk down. I wanted it to make it look like a floral pattern of some sort on our dress. And some are tilted just so that you only see half of it, because I wanted to make it look like it was, not seen because of the folds of the fabric. You don't want to just put it all straight up around, so some of it's like cut off to the edge, that kind of thing. And then the top part of the dress is dynamite. This one here, the old Bandit dynamite. I liked the curly bits up at the top, but I ended up only using one, and basically it's this little bit here. It's the same thing repeated over and over and over. It's what I used for the bottom of the skirt to kind of give it a little bit of a Ripley look, and what I used for the top of the dress. Just built up the shoulder part that would go across her shoulders, and kind of framed up a little bit of where her torso would be. And that's it. It's just the three pieces, just multiples. and twisted and tweaked until I got it the way I wanted. Now I had tried to add legs to her. Um, the problem with that is she looked misproportioned because I couldn't get the size of the foot right. I figured it would be like okay to go ahead and use the same size for her, like so. But I'll let you be the judge as far as whether or not it looks, I don't know, she looks too tall, too long-legged. I don't know if that would work well enough. But it's just, supposed to be an indication. It's supposed to be kind of like a sketch that a designer, a fashion designer would put together as a kind of like to show the client, this is the idea I have for the dress that you want. Does this work for you? That kind of thing. So what I thought I would do is add another one of these bits. Now I left it away from the wall so you could see just how jumbly that looks back there. By rights, you would link all that together and then push it up against. And again, you can see from the sides, it looks pretty awful. These things are meant that you're to look at them straight on. So what we'll do is we're going to add another blank canvas here. Again, this is 24 pieces of glass that's layered up to make this white. The more you layer in, the whiter it gets. And you'll see from past works that we've done, there's other ways of doing it so that you can get different shades of coloring if you spread the layers out a little bit and sink your items in at different depths. You'll get a darker shade of red and a lighter shade of red and that kind of stuff. That's much tougher because again, if you want to change the position of something that you've put down and it happens to be behind several layers of glass, it's going to be tough to try and grab it and adjust its position. Okay, so this one we had at 30. We'll go ahead and make this one at 30 as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to make another dress style. Hopefully it will come out something different, but I'm going to see if I can show you about how I work this from scratch. So let's turn it this way this time. And again, it's one of those things, the more you sink it in, the more it disappears. The reason it's so stark, it's either off or on, is because this one is flat pretty much. Trying to decide how I want to do this. I'm kind of being generous about pulling it out away from the glass so that I can click it from the front rather than constantly having to click it from the back. That doesn't always work, but we'll see. Notice I start in the middle and then I end up like making it too long. Ends up being in the wrong spot. I have no idea what I'm doing, but we're going to try and see if it works okay. I'm just basically copying the same piece over and over, just changing where it is. See, I'm still, even with this, having trouble keeping it. Where I select the trellis instead of the glass. Oh, for crying out loud. Okay, let's see. Bring over our handy dandy bandit dynamite. Well, I'm going to check the way it's turned. What I thought. I'll have to rediscover how that's positioned again. I just have this one bit showing. Again, just kind of guessing about what it should look like. Somebody with some really good fashion ideas or something would probably come up with something a lot nicer, more realistic looking. Again, I'm not looking at anything, I'm just making this up as I go. And one more. So something like that. And then you could like, if you don't want like that whole strapless look, you could maybe add a couple of these to look like straps for the top. Like so. And there you have some kind of like a sundress kind of thing, something. You could, again, you could add the arms and legs if you want. It doesn't have to be that way. If you don't like the position of this, the best way to do it is just to reposition the glass till you get it framed the way you want. And then link it all up together and then you can move it. Thanks, Poi. I appreciate that. It's just goofing around, but you can see how quick it can be if you find the right item. I just happen to have one of those trellises in the crate, and I thought, I wonder if that will work. I'm sure there's probably other items that will work similarly. Mostly you want to find something that has like a flat, but it's broken up. Like, I'm trying to think of something else that might work. Maybe some of the fence pieces could come up with some interesting little bits like, what is it, the chain? I was thinking about this the other day. The one that's got the, oh, uh, yeah, this one. It's got the little swirly bits for the trim. Maybe you could come up with some kind of extra little, and you see how thick that is on the side. It's completely funky looking. But like maybe, I don't know if it'll work exactly what I'm thinking of, but I thought it might be kind of fun to give it a try, which I may do at some point. But like, and you can see it's pretty thin. So the smaller you make it, the less visible it's going to be. But like maybe you're wanting some kind of like a curly frill at the bottom, or maybe trying to draw somebody's curly hair or something. This might be a piece to use. Maybe like it's only half bits instead of the full curl. You have to really work at tilting it just right. Let's see. There's another interesting piece. Even like some of the curved draking fences, if you just use the bottom edges, they're different curved shapes. That might work for you as well. The reason I think I picked the trellis is because it was a defined shape, and when I was playing with it, it just looked like the, what do you call it, the folds of the fabric. I guess that's what caught my attention. Desperately trying to think if I can find any other one that will work similar, but I can't. You see, these are all so bumpy, you'd only see like parts. You'd end up seeing blotches, and that's not really what. I was also looking for something dark. Of course, I ended up using the yellow bits for the dress pattern. And it just so happens that that particular piece is hollow. Some of the other things that might work is, what's it called? Moss bush. Yeah, this one. You would imagine it would be solid, but if you turn it so that you see the bottom, you can see that it's actually hollow. So that might work for maybe someone wants to draw an eye, a dragon eye. This would be a good outline for it, or just wants some green circles on a piece of clothing or a background of something. I don't know. Because it's not like paper thin. It's slightly indented a little bit, so you still get some of the color. So that might be something. I kind of tend to avoid things that move on the paintings. I have used it, but it's touch and go. Just depends on what it is, I think. Thingy. Another one that might prove okay is the oh, what's it called? I want to say the tribal mat roll, but I think those are so paper thin you won't actually see it. Really, you need something that has edges to it. Like the books. It might seem kind of silly, but you could get a nice U shape with it, or just a nice parallel line. You probably use that in some way because they're evenly spaced, and if you used it, you could like twist it and make a skirt out of that. Like, for instance, do I have it? Let's just use an example here. I'll make it a little smaller. So like, for instance, turn it. You could get really mathematical with it and make it so that it's perfectly aligned to the degree, you know, if you want. I think some things like this work better if it's kind of a little looser and not exact. That's why I like these bits that kind of look sketchy because they're kind of thin in places and thicker in places. It makes it look like you've really sketched it. Like that book again. Turn it to the side. That one again. And again. And then you can finish it off with some more of these little bits. Maybe make it a little bit smaller. But I think it'd be more fun if you find some things like this that aren't exactly straight lines, because you could just use anything that's got a straight edge for that. The books are cheap though, that's important. There's a kind of skirty looking thing with a weird pattern, sort of. Maybe it's some kind of weird breeches or something. Hey, Kruja. Glad you could join us. So, let's see, what else did we use? Like this fencing, I don't know if that would work really well, because if you could get maybe just these parts to show, that would probably be good. But because they're set into these, you'd see this part too. Don't think that would work really well. I tried using some plants when I was trying to think of for the pattern for the dress. I tried using the bottoms of some of like the grasses and the bush clumps and stuff, but you just saw too, it didn't take any kind of shape. So I didn't go with those. But I did experiment with them. Toilet paper roll gives a nice circle. You could use uh, the bowls, domes, any of that gives good circle. But like if you want, if you have them and you're not using them, you can use them in something like that. Mainly the main thing. The tire, it's not exactly. Mostly I was looking for line stuff. Like the towel, how its edges are a little crimply. I like that. Those little weird. Now I would have used the white drapes, these here, but they move. On there you don't see it so much because of the angle that it is, but when I put them over here, you see it moving and it kind of half disappears, half reappears, and it didn't quite. But I like the curviness of those particular lines. See how it looks kind of thin and thick, and even like where the pen skipped. I like that kind of stuff. Let's see. I can't really think of anything. Like maybe the edges of this would be interesting, sort of. Let's have a look. Like curve it. Get some weird like dash lines going. I don't know. I don't know what attracts me to certain bits and other not others. It's just I think I just got lucky that I happened to have a trellis in my bank or the crate and said, I wonder if that'll work, and sure enough it did. You could pancake something like a tree shape, that would be awesome, but you can't do that. One thing that might work for some is the grated or the barred windows. I think those have a nice, what do you call it? There's a certain name for that. Cross hatching, I guess. You know, if you're wanting something quick. Um, of course, always take the cheaper option. Excuse me. But there you can have like a quick cross hatching. Maybe you want to do a spooky themed painting with a window, a barred window, or a fence. Um, Chicken coop or something. Or maybe some patterned shirt or something. Here's like the whole front, add a little pocket, some sleeves, and you're good to go. I don't know what you would use it for. I'm just trying to throw out some ideas. Maybe that's the top of a dress and add the skirt there, that kind of thing. Maybe you want it flat up top. This would be a belt and the top, you know, the beginnings of the top of the shirt, and then you'd add some breeches, and then you have a man suit kind of thing going on. Here you have a little line. That again, that could be a belt. Maybe it's somebody's leg. Why it would be their leg, I don't know. But top of a hat, make a hat out of it. Bottom of a shoe. Yeah, cheap is good. Cheap is something I'm always on the lookout for. I'm gonna send these books to the crate. There we go. So yeah, that was how I kind of come about on that particular um, sketchy thing. You could add more if you want. Maybe she has a bow at the back, uh, or maybe you want to add a little sketch for a hat or something, a sun hat of some sort. Maybe you want to add shoes or whatever. I think if you can't just wing it like this, or you don't want to wing it, you want to actually have something to kind of visually follow. Look up stuff like fashion sketches, concept art for gowns, or you know, pantsuits if you want. If you're looking for a particular, you know, I did look up like maybe I wanted to do a particular fairy tale one for like Maleficent or the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland or some other one, you know, Prince Charming's jacket kind of thing. Uh, that becomes trickier because you start focusing so much on getting it to look exactly like what it is. You kind of uh, miss out on discovering things like how I found the trellis behaving really nice for a skirt kind of thing. So there's pros and cons to using a picture reference. I prefer to, generally speaking, because usually I'm really bad at proportions, especially if I'm trying to do a person or an animal or something. When it comes to like landscaping and stuff, you're just doing a wooded scene or a mountain scene. That's a little bit less intimidating, I think, if you're just going to wing it. But with others, I tend to like maybe I make the head too big and the arms are a little crooked and things like that. And so it's better to have a reference of some sort, even if you're not going to copy it exactly. Um, because like with the dresses here that we did, those were really tough because I was having to find specific items that match the right colors that could work for certain shapes, that kind of thing. So that's much tougher to do. It's possible, obviously, but kind of winging it like this is kind of more fun. Just kind of coming up with something off the top of your head. And it's, completely yours. You don't have to say, hey, I referenced this or that or whatever. So I think we're going to go ahead and call it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed these little bits. I hope it gave you some ideas for some things that, um, that maybe you want to add to your plot for, something. It probably can't be used in everybody's plot. This doesn't look very space agey or spaceport kind of stuff, but maybe something of it will give you an idea for something else that you can work with. But so yeah, I think we're going to call it. Remember, tomorrow is house tours. I've only got one and a half, like two maybe selected so far. I was spending some time this morning going through my list. It's again, everybody's is still works in progress, or they've actually closed their house off to keep it private until they finish working on it. Others, I keep getting the does not exist error, and so we'll see. I do have one at least that's really good and ready, I think. Um, and of course, that's on Dominion side. I usually have the most trouble on that side. So Poi and the rest of you that are working on uh, some Dominion plots, chop to it so I have something to look at. Um, but that's tomorrow. And of course, Friday, the 30th, we will be having our CBDC showcase. We'll, yes, be going back over all of the junk that I've built for it, that I've been working on the last few weeks, but we're also going to be taking a look at any ones that has submitted their plots for our viewing pleasure. Right now, I think it's just two of them, Poise and Maddie's. I haven't checked to see how far along either one of them are, but hopefully we'll have something extra so it's not just my junk. That's one of the reasons why I've kind of stopped going to Parsley's plot, because I want to have a few things that you guys haven't really seen up close waiting for you on Friday. So if you join for nothing else, join for the tours, join for the CBDC showcase. And of course, next week we'll be announcing October's theme. And of course, everybody's on pins and needles as far as what we can expect from this year's Shades Eve goodies. I'm hoping those decor pieces and stuff that were there last year are going to be included in this year's bag of tricks, along with some new stuff, but we'll just have to wait and see. I believe they said the 19th is when we can expect that to start, to kick in. So we'll see how it goes. In the meantime, good luck with your own projects, you guys. If you know of anyone that's interested in housing and has yet to run into this little streamy thing that we do every weekday, be sure and nudge them our way. We're always happy to have new people come in and drop by and talk with us about housing. So yeah, thanks for joining, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.